This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. We're back on the YouTube channel today, and we're taking a look at Classic Watch 24 review again. I looked at the USA-based horses. I looked at the Japanese-based horses. I think it's fair to say that they both deserve their own video. So that is what exactly is going to happen. So this will be part 4 now, the Classic Watch 24 review on the USA-based horses. Where can these horses be found? classicwatch24.great/site.net is where these horses can be found. The tab we're interested in today is this one, the USA Trained Horses tab. And if people open that tab, they will reach the list of USA trained horses. I think there's about 8 or 9 of them, but it's safe to say that some of them did very well indeed. I'm gonna take a look at them now. Again, these are done in no particular order. We're going to start with the first one, Tamara. Tamara, a filly, foaled on February the 12th, 2021, sired by Bolt Doro, out of a dam called Beholder, who herself was sired by Henny Hughes. People might remember the race mare of this horse, top class Beholder, trained by Richard E. Mandela and owned and bred by Spendthrift Farm LLC. People will see if they take a look at the form of Tamara. She was a top class 2-year-old, managing to win the Debutante Stakes on only her second start. She was then finishing only 7th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and her 3-year-old campaign really was, safe to say, a bit of a non-event. She was only seen once, and that wasn't until the 15th of November 2024, when she was beaten in a claiming race over 6 furlongs. Hardly the classic sort of trip that I would have liked. Her 2-year-old form was good. She ran to a mark of 110 when beating Lawrence by 6 lengths to win her Group 1, the debutante. 3 of her 4 runs have come at Del Mar. She's finished first and second, but the 7th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile out of 12, beaten 8 1/4 lengths by Just FYI, is disappointing to say the least. She was an odds-on favourite that day. But the fillies only ran once, very difficult to form a coherent view of just how good this filly is. Maybe she has more to come, age 4. But regarding the classics, well, missed all the season for some reason or another, has to be classed as a failure, doesn't she, really? The next horse we're going to take a look at is actually closed down the tab by accident, is Fierceness. Fierceness will start on the American tab. What a season this horse had. Foaled on 18th of March the 28th, 2021, sired by City of Light out of a dam called Nonna Bella, who herself was out of a filly of a sire called Stay Thirsty, trained by Todd Pletcher, owned and bred by Repole Stables. This horse had a terrific season, in the first 3 in 7 out of 9 starts and winning over $3 million, $3,856,350 to be precise. Top class 2-year-old. The horse destroyed Muth by 6 1/4 lengths in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year, running to a mark of 115. He was also 7th, beaten 20 lengths by Timberlake when a 1-2 shot virtually at Aqueduct in a Group 1 before that. That race was the Champagne Stakes. First start at 3. The writing looked to be on the wall on the 3rd of February in the Holy Bull Stakes. Fierceness could only finish 3rd. Beaten 3.5 lengths by Hades, again beaten at 1-5, which was very disappointing. I'm sure you will agree. The horse then bounced back on the 30th of March at Gulfstream Park, taking out the Florida Derby by 13.5 lengths by Catalytic, running to a mark of 122. The horse then did turn up in an American Classic. It turned up in May in the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs, and the horse could only finish 15th out of 20. beaten 25 lengths by the surprise winner on the day, Mystic Dan, running to a mark of 96. The horse then went on a bit of a summer tear in July and August, winning two more three-year-old only races. The horse won the Group 2 Jim Dandy Stakes at Saratoga, beating Sierra Leone by a length, running to a mark of 123. And then, in arguably the best race of the season, August 2024, the horse won the Grade 1 Travers Stakes, again at Saratoga, beating Torpedo Anna by a head, running to a mark of 125. It was back at Del Mar then for the last start of the season, the Breeders' Cup Classic, where the horse could only finish second of 14, beaten 1.5 lengths by Sierra Leone, running to a mark of 124. I mean, what a season this horse had, yet it could only finish 15th in one of the three American Classics. It's taken out two Group 1s, a Group 2, and a Group 1 at 2 as well as finishing second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And really is difficult to call this horse a failure, Fierceness. The horse, in my view, has had a terrific season, and it has been an absolute pleasure to watch him go round, even though he couldn't secure that classic victory for the site. The next horse we're going to look at had no trouble doing that, Dornock. A colt foaled on April the 22nd, 2021, sired by Good Magic, out of a dam called Puka, who herself is out of stallion Big Brown. Puka, owned by West Paces Racing, R.A. Hill Stable, Belmar Racing and Breeding, 2-8 Racing and Pine Racing, and bred by Grandview Equine, trained by Danny Gargan. People see this horse was out of the first two in only 3 of his 10 starts, winning 5 of them, and another one, a Racing Millionaire, earning $2,427,275 American dollars in his career. We'll see that this was another superb horse. Safe to say it was a decent 2-year-old as well, Dornock. It beat Sierra Leone nose in the Group 2 Remsen Stakes last year after being beaten in a listed race in August 2023. But it was his form at 4, at 3 really, that took him to a whole new level. The 2nd of March 2024, the horse won a Grade 2. The horse took out the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth Stakes, beating La Dombro by 1 3/4 lengths, running to a mark of 107. The horse was then 4th out of 10 behind Sierra Leone in the Grade 1 Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland, beaten again 6.5 lengths and running to a mark of 105. And then the horse did turn up in a classic, the Kentucky Derby, on the 4th of May, and the horse was 10th out of 20, beaten 18 lengths by Mystic Dan, running to a mark of 103. It was then in June and July, really, that the horse took its form to a whole new level. Winning a classic the 8th of June, the horse taking out the Belmont this year round at Saratoga, defeated Mindframe by half a length at odds of 177 to 10, around 17 to 1, to reward Classic Watch, running to a mark of 122, leaving his best form well behind. And then in July 2024, the horse won another top 3-year-old only race at Monmouth Park, the Haskell Stakes, beating Mindframe again by a bit further this time, a length and a quarter, running to a mark of 124, which was esteemed its best form of the season. Back in August 2024 in the Travers, Dornock could only finish 4th of 8, beaten 8.5 lengths by Fierceness, running to a mark of 108. But for those 3 months, those couple of months against Mindframe, Dornock was a classic winner, and he also won the Haskell, and he won 2 Group 2 races as well, the Remsen at 2, and the Fountain of Youth at 3. Has to go down as a complete success and a classic winner at 17 to 1, which has virtually paid for a few of them, hasn't it? Very good horse, Dornock, and goes down a definite success. Next one we're going to take a look at is a filly, Tarifa, foaled on February the 1st, 2021, sired by Bernardini, out of a dam called Kite Beach, who herself was sired by Awesome Again. Good, solid, consistent filly. Brad Cox trained, Godolphin owned and bred filly. Out of 10 starts, Tarifa has finished in the first 3 8 times, winning 5 of them and winning so far up to $879,975. She had a terrific season as well, it's fair to say. Not so much at 2, where she only ran twice, but at 3, she really did take her form to another level. She won a claiming race on the 20th of January 2024, before it was then up to pattern class on the 17th of February, back at Fairgrounds, where she won the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra Stakes, beating Intricate by 2 3/4 lengths in a race the Racing Post dared not rate. It was then back at Fairground for the 23rd of March 2024 and another Group 2 race, the Fairground Oaks, presented by Fasig Tipton, and Tarifa managed to take that race out as well, finishing first of 6 by 3/4 of a length, defeating Our Pretty Woman, running to a Racing Post rating of 113. It was then time for a while off before a return the 3rd of May 2024 to the Kentucky Oaks at Churchill Down, where the horse sadly could only finish 9th out of 14, beaten 18.5 lengths by Torpedo Anna, running to a mark of 79. It was then the horse ran in a conditions race. It ran in the Autobahn Oaks, a black type race at Ellis Park, where she finished 2nd out of 5, beaten by Fibber, before it's back up to Group 1 company at Parks in September in the Cotillion Stakes, where she finished 3rd out of 9, beaten 3 3/4 lengths again by Torpedo Anna, running to a mark of 110. She then took out her 3rd Group 2 victory in a race that used to be a Group 1 at the Mother Goose Stakes at Belmont at the Big A, beating Gunsong by a head in a race, again, the Racing Post dared not rate, and then finishing her 3-year-old campaign at Churchill Downs again in the Full City Stakes at Grade 3, where I think all in all it was pretty disappointing that she didn't win that race, finishing 2nd out of 8, beaten 3 3/4 lengths by Loved, again, in a race the Racing Post rating was just not existent. Hard to weigh this horse up, really. It was the Group 1 placed triple Group 2 winner, Tarifa, but she can only finish 9th in the 1 Classic she did contend. There's only the Kentucky Oaks filly, and then it's really the Preakness and the Belmont, really the fillies can go for. So, but she did manage to take out that Group 2 Mother Goose Stakes at Belmont to go with the 2 Group 2 Oaks trials she won at Fairground. And she was also placed in that Group 1 race at Parks. So, I don't know, it's pretty hard to call her a failure, really, when she's won 3 Group 1s been placed in a Group 1 and won 3 Group 2s. But you have to say that her 9th in the Classic probably was a bit of a disappointment for the filly. The next horse we're going to take a look at is Sierra Leone, a colt, foaled on March the 31st, 2001, horse sired by Gunrunner, out of a dam called Heavenly Love, who herself was sired by Malibu Moon. I mean, this horse here, absolutely sensational season for the Chad Brown trained, Peter M. Brandt and Magnia and Coolmore owned and Brandt owned horse, bred by Debbie M. Oxley and sold to White Birch Farm and Magnia, consigned by Gainsway. You see this horse here never finished out of the first 3 in 9 starts, earning $6,008,000. What a magnificent season. This horse had, again, decent at 2, beaten a nose by Dornock in the Group 2 Remsen Stakes. That just hinted at what was to come this year, though, really. The horse straight off the mark in the middle of February in the Grade 2 Risen Star Stakes, where the horse beat Track Phantom by half a length, running to a mark of 118. The horse then ran and then a Group 1 at Keeneland on April the 6th, the Bluegrass Stakes, and he managed to beat just a touch by 1.5 lengths, running to a mark of 122. The The horse then went to a classic, the 4th of May, Churchill Downs, Kentucky Derby, second out of 20. Beaten and nosed by Mystic Dan at odds of 48 to 10, running to a mark of 121. It then came across some Classic Watch and some titanic Classic Watch 24 battles, it's fair to say. In June 2024 in the Belmont, the horse was third, beaten 1.5 lengths by Dornock, so it's placed in 2 classics, second and third, running to a mark of 119. And then at Saratoga in July, the horse was second out of 6 in the Group 2 Jim Dandy Stakes, this time beaten by Fierceness. Odds on again, running to a mark of 121. And then it returned to Saratoga on the 21st of August to contest the Grade 1 Travers Stakes, and the horse finished third out of 8, beaten 2 lengths by Fierceness, running to a mark of 121. What a season! And the season, of course, culminated with that fantastic win in November in the Breeders' Cup Classic, where the horse beat Fierceness by 1.5 lengths, running to a career best mark of 128 in doing so. But this horse, ultimately consistent, placed in 2 classics and a Breeders' Cup Classic winner. Impossible, really, to call this horse a failure. It's been beaten by Classic Watch horses in Dornock and Fierceness 4 times in its career. And if any horse deserved that Del Mar victory, it was, of course, Sierra Leone odds of 69 to 10. Very rewarding on the day. But yeah, it went round as a bookies horse for most of the season. People might have just got away with it a bit in the Track Phantoms race and maybe the Kentucky Derby each way at 48 to 10. Where it was only beaten the nose. How unlucky, really. It's been beaten the nose and 1.5 lengths in 2 classics. The Del Mar, the Kentucky Derby, and the Belmont. What a horse Fierceness is, and impossible to call the horse a failure. One thing we didn't touch on with Dornock is we will see now, if I go back to the closed tab, that Dornock is in fact retired to stud. Hasn't got a nice big picture on because it's not a Weatherby's horse. $40,000. $40,000. The stud fee for 2025 for Dornock. So that is a Classic Watch 24 horse already at stud. The rest of them, I think, are racing on. It was an injury in preparation for a race that meant they retired Dornock after the race against Fierceness. He never raced again after August in the big dances, really. And he was retired to stud, where his opening fee will be $40,000. Just forgot to mention that. The next horse we're on about now is Torpedo Anna, a filly, foaled in January the 28th, 2021, sired by a stallion called Fast Anna, out of a dam called Sataviz, who herself was sired by Uncle Mo, owned by Brookdale Racing Incorporated, Mark Edwards and Judy Hicks, and Magdalena Racing, Sherry McPeak. The horse bred by Judy Hicks as well, sold to Kenneth McPeak, consigned by Grovendale Stables. What an incredible year this filly had. 10 starts, never out of the first 2. 8 firsts and 2 seconds, managing to win $3,843,663. People can really see the class of Classic Watch 24 coming through in these American horses at the moment. Torpedo Anna, what a career she had. She managed to be second in a Group 2 at 2 again, beaten 5.25 lengths by Intricate at 2, running to a mark of 102. I think that was her only pattern race run at 2. Yes, it was. She won her first 2 races, a maiden special weight and an allowance claiming race, before being beaten there in the Group 2 Goldenrod Stakes at Churchill Downs on the 25th of November. But it was at 3 where she really showed what class she had. Straight away, she won the Group 2 at Oaklawn Park on the 30th of March, the Grade 2 Fantasy Stakes, where she beat West Omaha by 4 lengths, running to a mark of 110 at odds of 27 to 10. And then the last time people had a chance, really, to nail this filly It was on the 3rd of May when she took out a classic. This is a Kentucky Oaks winner, Torpedo Anna. She beat Just FYI by 4 3/4 lengths that day at Churchill Downs, running to a mark of 120 at odds of 9-2. An absolute gift that day. Since then, she's been going round at bookies' prices, and why would you want? I wouldn't want to lay this horse to lose any money. So you can't blame them. Sometimes horses are that good; they deserve to be odds on. Not all of them. 7th of June 2024, the horse won the Acorn Stakes back at Saratoga, beating Leslie's Rose by 5.5 lengths, just to show how dominant she was over these fillies. She then went back to Saratoga in July to win the Coaching Club American Oaks, another Grade 1. This time she beat Candid by 4.5 lengths, running to a mark of 124. She then took on the Colts in the Travers Stakes, splitting Fierceness and Sierra Leone, I think. 2nd out of 8, beaten ahead by Fierceness, running to a mark of 120. And then against the fillies in the last 2 races, the 21st of September, the Cotillion Stakes, a Grade 1 at Parks. She only defeated Gunsong by a neck. 1st of 9 that day, and she completed a terrific season with a win on the 2nd of November in the Breeders' Cup Distaff over a Classic Watch 23 possible. She actually beat Raging Sea by 2.5 lengths that day. Joint career best figure of 124 for Torpedo Anna. You can see there that she's getting weight from the colt, you see. That's why Sierra Leone and that were rated 128 and 127. Take the 3 off and Fierceness, 123, 120. But there's no doubt about it, Torpedo Anna was definitely the dominant American filly of 2024, the Kenneth McPeak trained horse. And it was an absolute pleasure for Classic Watch 24 to watch her go round and identify her. Absolutely magnificent filly, Torpedo Anna. The last 2, not really as good as I would have hoped, really. Resilience, a colt, foaled on March the 24th, 2021. Sired by Into Mischief out of a dam called Meadow Sweet, who was out of Smart Strike. This horse was bred by Pam and Martin Wood and owned by Emily and Rick Waldman, and Emily Baldman and Rick Waldman, I think that is, trained by William Mott. Again, very disappointing, really, in the scheme of things compared to some of these. The horse only won 2 out of 8 starts and finished in the first 3 in half of his 8 starts, winning $494,630. The horse only managed to win 1 stakes race. It took 4 times to get off the mark. It never won at 2, finishing 6th, 2nd and 3rd. It then won its maiden race at Gulfstream Park on New Year's Day 2024. The horse then was 4th, beaten 3.5 lengths by Sierra Leone. Not a bad performance in its own right, really. Running to a mark of 111 in the Group 2 Fairground Stakes. Was that Wisenstar Stakes, sorry. And then on the 6th of April, the horse secured its Group 2 victory that made him of interest, really, for me at Aqueduct, when the horse managed to win the Wood Memorial, beating Society Man by 2.25 lengths, running to a joint career best of 113. The horse ran well, to be fair to it, the Kentucky Derby, finishing 6th out of 20, beaten 7.75 lengths by Mystic Dan, running to a mark of 113 to finish 6th. And the horse did turn up in the Belmont as well, where it was last, 10 out of 10, beaten 33 lengths by Dornock, the Classic Watch winner, running to a mark of 56 in what was a very poor run. So all in all, the horse ran to a best racing post rating of 113, which, when you've seen some of the other colts that we've looked at, is around a stone inferior to the very best horses that we've had running for us this season. And the horse has only managed to win 1 Group 2 and finish 6th in a Group 1. So you have to say, really, that this horse was a slight disappointment. It didn't really match up to the other horses that we looked at. The same can be said of this one, Imagination, a colt, foaled in April 2023. Another one, sired by Into Mischief, out of a dam called Magical Feeling, who herself is out of Empire Maker. Very similar record for this Bob Baffert trained horse, Imagination. Plenty of owners. It's bred by Peter E. Blum, Thoroughbred Racing, owned by SF Racing, Starlight Racing, Market Stables, Stone Street Stables, Diane Bashaw, Robert E. Masterson, Waves Edge Capital, Catherine Donovan, and Tom Ryan. Plenty of owners, not enough victories. Unfortunately, people see the horse has already lost in 2024, the only 2025, the only one that has. And its total record, really, out of 12 starts, has finished in the first 3 in 9 of 12 starts. But the horse has only managed to win twice, earning $483,700 American dollars. We'll see, really, again, a bit of a slight disappointment, really. The horse at 2 finished second in 2 two-year-old maidens, as well as getting off the mark on New Year's Day as well at Santa Anita to win her first race of the season. She was then second in an allowance optional claimer on her 4th start before taking the race that she wanted, that she needed to take, really, to be of interest. In March 2024, the horse won the Grade 2 San Felipe Stakes at Santa Anita, beating Wind Me Up by a head, running to a mark of 108. The horse then contested a Grade 1 at Santa Anita in April, the Santa Anita Derby, where the horse finished second out of 8, beaten a neck by Stronghold, running to a mark of 102 and 10. The horse then turned up in 2 classics. He was the Preakness Hope, the only one of the Classic Watch 24 that gave us an interest in the Preakness. Suddenly, the horse could only finish 7th out of 8, beaten 15.5 lengths by Seize the Grey, running to 88, and actually ran to worse than that, 87, in the next race, a Grade 1 at Saratoga. The Woody Stevens dropped back down to 7 furlongs, where the horse finished 7th out of 11, behind Bookham Dano. The horse then was finished again in a listed race behind Muth at Delmar in September, the Shared Belief Stakes, 3rd out of 7, beaten 3 1/4 lengths, running to what was a joint career best mark of 112, before finishing second in behind Tarantino on the 26th of October. That race was an allowance optional claiming race again, before the horse did end its season with another Group 1 place on the 26th of December at Santa Anita in the 7 furlong Malibu Stakes, where the horse finished 3rd out of 6, beaten a length and 3/4 by Raging Torrent, running to a mark of 112. Its joint best mark was also gained in that listed race at Muth, when it beat Muth. But again, 4th out of 7 in the Grade 2 in the first start of 2025 in the San Pasquale Stakes, beaten by Katona. Not exactly a good start for 2025 as an odds-on shot. You see, this horse just goes off too short for a horse that's only managed to win twice, and it's been placed in 2 Group 1s, and the horse is a Group 2 winner. Again, you see the 120s of the other colts to only run to a mark of 112. It's safe to say that Imagination, the final US horse of Classic Watch 24, has to go down as a failure as well, unfortunately. But I do think what a fantastic group these were, really. The Classic Watch 24 American runners, horses like Dornock, Fierceness, Sierra Leone, Torpedo Anna. They have certainly flown the flag for the website in fantastic style, haven't they? And just coming up to 30 minutes in this video just proves why I made the decision to split up the USA and the Japanese-based horses in this fashion. This will be part 4 of Classic Watch 24. And I think I can end this video here now. Thank you very much to everybody who has chosen to watch the video. As always, it is very much appreciated. What I will do is I will put a link to the Classic Watch 24 review playlist that is available now. There's the Australian review from back in July and the first 3 pieces of this review, the British horses, the Irish horses, and the French and German horses. And I will also give everybody an opportunity to subscribe to the channel who have watched this video and have chosen to this point not to subscribe to the channel. Perfectly fine with me. But if you don't want to miss any more of the content, moving forward here on YouTube, then subscribing is probably the best way forward. What have we got coming up? Well, we've got an issue with Patreon. I've not been able to upload any videos to Patreon today, so there might be some National Hunt horses coming back on the YouTube channel while Patreon sorts itself out. The main thing is that people get the horses as soon as possible. And there is also a final part of the Classic Watch 24 review to do on the Japanese-based horses, and then all roads, I'm sure, will lead to Classic Watch 25, trying to get some more possibles on side through March and April, ahead of the first Classics, hopefully, in May 2025. And we're going to try and, at some point, get back on the Stallions in Focus trail as well, which seems to have ground to a bit of a halt through January. Hopefully, we'll be back on there soon. But for now, I can leave this video here now. Thank you very much to everybody who watched it. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Take care of yourselves and look after yourselves and your loved ones. For now, I will leave this video here. Take care, everybody, and goodbye.